What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And you guys, Bitcoin is looking pretty frisky at these levels here, sitting at about $102,000. It's crazy, right? It's like it feels. I don't know about you guys, but to me, it doesn't feel right now like we're about to break out to new all-time highs, right? It feels like we're moving at a snail's pace, we're moving sideways. But the reality is, we're very close. We could break out to new all-time highs today, guys. We're 1.75% away from being at new all-time highs. And the effect that that will have when it happens is a cascade of bullish behavior, not just in Bitcoin, but across the crypto landscape, right? We really could, like, guys, 124K is right here, right? Seeing this by the end of the month, like the end of the month is all the way over here. It's not that far of a stretch. You know, we had this kind of move, just moving up into this sideways consolidation phase we've had, sloping upwards kind of, but we had this exact move, you know, right here. Like, that would take us above that little bubble that I got, right? Like, literally. And if anything, I would expect that the move is going to be stronger. You know, you look at this daily RSI, it's not the prettiest right here. It's not the prettiest, but it is still like an overall higher low kind of dynamic that you have here, right? That wasn't the straightest line ever. You do go a little bit below it, right? But you've got this trend that you're in. It seemed like we were going to break out of it, but you just didn't do it. We're at the precipice of breaking out right now. If we go up again, even if it is lower highs, when we go up, we're going to get into the overbought zone. We're going to see a strong move. We're going to press higher in a very, very short amount of time, you guys. And it might be today. It might not be today. It might be 3 or 4 days later, but it's going to happen very soon. And that's kind of the main point of this video, is that if you have money in the side on the sidelines, right? I'm going to do the same stuff that I was saying basically throughout like this whole time here. Right, and I haven't said it day after day, but you're going to hear me start saying it day after day in basically every crypto video I make from here on out. I didn't say it in my earlier crypto videos, but I'm going to say it from here on out. Is that if you have money on the sidelines, if you're waiting for a pullback, you're waiting for that right price to just get in. Screw that, just get in right now, guys, because like at this point, it's not worth missing out. It really is not worth missing out. Maybe it pulls back. Maybe it does. Maybe Bitcoin pulls back. It gets a higher low. But if you buy here, okay, whatever, you just miss out on that. It's still going to grow. Maybe buy a little bit here, whatever, and then buy a little bit more there. But I don't think that's not promised, right? Nothing's promised. But in my opinion, prices below 90K are more of a lie at this point in time than expecting prices above 120K would be, right? So why wait for the downside? How has that worked out for you this whole, like, literally this whole past like 2 months? It hasn't worked out at all for anybody. So if you have money on the sidelines, just get in now, because we do look like we're about to rip. Bitcoin here, in its like ugly phase of this RSI consolidating right here, has been largely above the 60. You know, I was looking at this, and there's a couple of ways to look at this, and it doesn't look the best in my opinion whenever you look at it like this. You go from these lows here, you connect all these lows, you bounced, and each time brought you higher price targets, right? You moved on up, higher lows, higher highs. This time you didn't bounce. You're consolidating around it, and it looks ugly in that perspective when we compare it to all these perfect bounces here. But if we take all that away, I mean, it is still a higher low, so that's still nice too, and it didn't break out, which is fine. But if you take all that away and you just look at it for what it is, you're consolidating right above the 60, which is very, very bullish. When you dip below the 60, you're right back in it. When you dip below the 60, you're right back in it. You know what I mean? And then you're finding support on it too. So I'm very much under the impression that Bitcoin is about to rip. If you move down, you're at $102,000 now. If you move lower, it's going to be a task just to move below 97K. Okay. When you move higher, it's not going to be a task. It's going to be more of a task to move below 97K than it's going to be for this thing to just fly up to 120K. I promise you, man. It's going to be nuts. And whenever it happens, which I think it's going to happen soon, it's going to be swift. It's going to be quick. It's going to be like these weeks that we had in early and mid-November there. If we're looking at the price action here from an overall high before the halving here in March 11th, 2024, we take the low in August 5th, 2024, that week, from that week to there, 73.7K to 49. That's basically 49K on the dot. High to low fib extensions. We broke up above the 1618. Okay, we moved all the way up and tore right above the 1618 on the very first attempt. Okay, that's very bullish behavior. Okay, I don't know everything about all the indicators in the world for all the charts and everything, right? I'm not the most sophisticated trader in the world, but I know fibs better than most people do, man. I genuinely do. This is my bread and butter to my analysis. It's what I studied the most in my early days. I literally obsessed over it, man. I like scrolled and analyzed and compared notes as much as I could, and just tried to see things under the lights of the fibs as much as I can. And what I've picked up in my 8 years of doing this, over 8 years of doing this, you guys, is that whenever you break above your 1618 golden extension on the first attempt, especially when you break above it and then you're finding support on it for weeks afterwards, likely you're not stopping until the 2272 or the 2618. Okay, the technical next target would be the 1886, but with this kind of circumstance, it's not. Like, the real technical next target is 120K and even 141. It's not a target specifically, it's a zone, right? So whenever I say Bitcoin is going to go to 120K to 130K, it's not even fair, because technically it's going to go to 123K to 142K by the end of this month. Something like that's going to happen very, very soon, right? I'm expecting less so that we're at 141K by the end of December, and I'm also expecting less so that we're at 123K by the end of December. Probably something more in between. Right in between there in the middle is 130K. If you watched my December analysis video from the beginning of this month, I might have gotten the first half kind of wrong, because I was expecting we would have moved up already. But in that video, I was saying that I think the high of this month would be around like 131 or 134K. I can't remember. We might be making that move right now. I could really see that happening. And then once we make that move, here. Again, because you don't, with this kind of stuff, you don't have to hit the 2272 or the 2618 exactly. You can stop in between. If we were to go to like 131 here, we could spend the rest of the month kind of consolidating as we have here, just kind of moving sideways. Bitcoin moves up, it consolidates like for the last week of the month maybe, or something like that, or maybe it pumps for the rest of the month, who knows. But then this is the time when all coins really get to rally, is kind of a theory that I'm going with. Who knows, maybe they all move up together and they all rally, they all have a good time. But I'm getting a little bit sidetracked from the point that I'm trying to address, which is that we're at $102,000 now. We're about to move up a whole 20% or more than 20% from here in a very, very, very short amount of time. Do you really want to play the game? Do you want to sit on the sidelines? Do you not want to have money involved? I don't care how much money you have involved. If you have $1,000 in and you've got $100 that you saved up, but you're waiting for that right time, just throw that $100 in there, man. You get in. You got $1,000 sitting on the sideline, $10,000. You just found out about crypto. Your life savings is in stocks, or it's in cash. It's under your bed. You got 10,000, 100,000, whatever it is, and it's sitting on the sidelines. You need to get in. If you don't want to throw it all in, that makes you nervous. That's up to you. You're in control of your own financial destination, right? You're the captain of your own ship. None of this is financial advice, but if you want to get in, you got to stop dicking around. It's time to get in right now. It literally is time to get in right now. And it might not be today. It might not be tomorrow, but in less than a week's time, you guys, in less than a week's time, and probably at this rate, less than 4 days time from now, Bitcoin will be at new all-time highs. Probably before the 20th of December, we will be around, if not above, 110K, right? And on our way to 120K. Watch us just be at like 120K by the 20th of December. I don't know. It's the 14th now. I'm talking about in less than a week's time, you guys. We're going to be up. We're going to be up dramatically higher from where we are now, right? And when we get going, when this ball gets rolling, it's not going to stop at least until 123 to 142K, and likely somewhere in between is what I'm thinking. So I'm going to stop the video there. I don't know if I have anything else that I want to say. Looking at the 4-hour RSI, the 4-hour is come on, man. Why are you being weird? It's in a very bullish posture right now. It actually makes me think that, dude, we might be at new all-time highs by the end of the day. Genuinely, Bitcoin, you guys, might be we might be doing this today. I know I said that it might not be today, but shit, it might be today that we're making this move up right now. It looks perfect, man. The volume's dying off, right? The volume's died off completely. RSI looks bullish. When the volume dies off, we're at the end of our consolidation phase, so we pick a side, right? And I don't think we're picking the downside. I think we're going to pick the upside. So it really could be today. If it's not today, it's tomorrow. Like, oh man, it's the weekend, isn't it? It's Saturday. We're going to move up over the weekend, you guys. We're going to do that. That's what we're going to do. I think we're going to have a weekend getaway. That's what we're going to do. It's going to be a little weekend getaway rally, right? Like right here, remember Sunday, we had that 4% pump where we went from 76, 77K all the way up to 80K, and everybody's like, oh, CME gap, we're gonna have to come back down and fill that. And then boom, we rallied after that. and this even a good part of this day actually for Americans, it actually starts on late Sunday. I bet we rally over the weekend, you guys. That's my thoughts. That's my theory. I bet we do. I bet we see another CME gap. Okay. I bet over the next few days we see a move up that's like to 105K, 110K, something like that. Probably over the next like few days, something that's higher than this. We get a CME gap. Maybe we're only up 4% like we did last time. Maybe it's only 2% or maybe it's like 5 or 6%. Get a CME gap on Monday. Everyone's going to talk about filling the gap. We're not going to fill the gap, and we're just going to run. We're going to rally. I don't know, man. That's kind of my theory at this point. The 4-hour RSI is what got me excited for that. The daily RSI also looks good. Lower lows in the RSI, higher lows in the price. Beautiful. Looks really good. Holding above the 60. I love it. Looks so beautiful. Weekly RSI, very, very strong, very, very healthy, and you can get stronger and healthier, right? You can definitely go into higher levels in the weekly RSI. Looking at BTC on the all-time history index here. I mean, if you put a line right there, most of your highs in a bull cycle, in fact, most of your highs in the RSI and the bull cycles, in fact, that we've had for all of Bitcoin's history, they're above where you are now. They're above where you are now. So anybody looking at the weekly RSI saying, we're overbought, we're at the 82, we're going to turn around, statistically speaking, you're actually more likely to go higher and produce stronger readings. We can count quicker the amount of times that you didn't go above this line for RSI tops than the amount of times you went above it, right? Let me prove it to you. Ready? You try to count the tops above. I'll try to count the tops below. We're going to see who's faster. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. That was it. Boom. Done. 4, right? Is this going to be the 5th? I don't think so. I do believe that, and then even then, right? This top here was just a lower high. It was a path on this higher high upwards, right? It was just a stopping point. It wasn't like a rejection high like this one was. This one here, more of a rejection high, I would say. But I'm just saying, I think that we continue to grow from here. Okay, that's really all I'm trying to say. The last times that we got to levels that were higher than this in the RSI on a weekly perspective, the moves that were promoted were this move here and this move here, both of which, let's just see overall what they did. Right, we're definitely in a more bullish move now, and I think that it will be larger and faster overall. But this move, let's just go from that low to that high there, that immediate high. That was a 68% move, 69% move almost, from this low to this high there. 91% move, it got bigger. Of course, it got bigger. You had a higher reading in your RSI. So if we were to see some kind of reading comparable to that in the RSI, let's say our move started here, perhaps. We're at 66% right now, and we're already this low in the RSI. We're not this high in the RSI yet, so it does stand to reason that, well, we'll probably see more than a 69% growth there. If we were to see a 91% growth overall, that puts us right above 120K, man. Puts us right above 120K, and I have a funny feeling that this move will actually be bigger than that move was, right? So we probably do see something that takes us above 130K. That's just my kind of perspective, but I don't think I have anything else I want to say, you guys. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. For anybody that's worried that we're at the end of the cycle, I don't think that we are, man. Every single cycle, I'm just going to say this just for anybody who's worried about that kind of stuff, because I know that that's going around, right? That's a topic, that's a bit of discussion going around all around the crypto space, and it should be. You should always consider earlier targets or even later targets than what you have considered, right? Consider your targets, hold them true to yourself, stick with it, stick to the game plan, but be aware of other ones too. And then the circumstances, the scenarios that are playing out, if it makes sense that the all-time highs or that the market might top off, we're getting those vibes at targets that, or timeframes that might not have originally aligned with yours, but they make sense in other analysis. Just keep that in mind. But to me, on a monthly perspective, it makes sense that we would not top off for Bitcoin until we at least interact with this line. Every time in Bitcoin's history, we've had 2 tips on this monthly RSI, 2 tips, 1 tip here, 2 tips there, and it was the second tip each time. This was the second tip here. It didn't touch the line, but it was the second tip. The second tip of each of these couplings here, that was the all-time high. Okay, that was the all-time high of Bitcoin's bull cycles. Every cycle we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 iterations of this where the second tip each time was the all-time high. We haven't even interacted with this line once yet, right? So we're nowhere near the end of the cycle. we at least have to interact with this, and then at a minimum, after we interact with this line, we've seen a 4-month period in between, right? 4-month period in between both of these times, and then both of these times here, 7-month and a 7-month period in between highs. So after we hit this line, which we haven't hit yet, so we're definitely not at the end of the cycle yet until we hit this line, right? Even once we hit that line, we have a 4 to 7-month period before we are likely going to top out for Bitcoin, right? So no, we're not near the end of the cycle. No, I don't think we're there yet from a time perspective or from a price perspective. At least that's what the RSI would suggest. I just wanted to give that little bit at the end there. Hit the like button, you guys. Subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.